There are moments in life when you look around and realize something is not adding up. You have the skill, the experience, the character, the purity of heart, yet your name is never mentioned when blessings are being released. People who once promised to stand with you suddenly forget. Opportunities that were designed with you in mind mysteriously pass over you. Doors that should have opened easily seem to lose recognition of your existence. And in those silent battles, a person can begin to wonder, why does everything meant for me act as if it does not know me? Welcome to Everlasting Solutions, where the Word of God becomes your everlasting victory. Here we expose the unseen forces that manipulate destiny, break the hidden chains that silence your name, and restore the divine remembrance that heaven ordained for your life. Today we confront a dark spiritual mystery, the spirit of divine memory loss. When everything meant for you forgets your name, there is a spiritual force that moves quietly, without noise, without warning, and without physical evidence. Yet its impact is devastating. It makes people who love you forget you. It makes destiny helpers overlook you. It makes opportunities walk past you. It makes places where decisions are made suddenly ignorant of your contribution, your presence, and your potential. This is not ordinary forgetfulness. This is a calculated, programmed, demonic strategy to erase your name from spaces where you should be honored. This spirit operates like a thief in the night, subtracting recognition from your life. It ensures that your name is not mentioned when good news is being shared. It makes men who promise to help suddenly lose interest. It blinds those assigned to bless you. It manipulates conversations so your name is missing, even when you are the most deserving. This is why some people stay stagnant, even when they are working harder than everyone else. Their name is spiritually removed. You can do everything right and still be forgotten when it matters most. That is why divine remembrance is not a human process. It is a spiritual one. If the spirit of memory loss is operating, even angels assigned to bring you blessings can be intercepted. Your name can be pushed out of divine files. Your identity can be hidden in the spirit. This is why some blessings delay, not because you are unworthy, but because your name has been tampered with. This spirit shows up when breakthroughs are near. Suddenly, the person who was ready to approve your promotion changes their mind. The office that was supposed to hire you misplaces your documents. The friend who was supposed to recommend you forgets your name completely. These are not coincidences. These are symptoms of a spiritual manipulation designed to block your rising before it manifests physically. It is the same spirit that made the king forget Joseph, even after Joseph interpreted his dream and saved his kingdom. Joseph's breakthrough depended on someone remembering his name, but an evil force delayed that remembrance for 2 whole years. This shows that memory loss can be spiritual, targeted, and intentional. Your destiny can hang on one act of remembrance, and the enemy knows this. People under this attack often feel invisible. They feel unseen, unacknowledged, unnoticed, and uncelebrated. No matter how gifted they are, their value is hidden behind a spiritual veil. Their presence is muted by unseen forces. Even when they speak, their words do not carry weight. Even when they contribute, nobody remembers. This is not weakness. This is a battle. The tragedy of this spirit is that it isolates your destiny by removing your name from the minds of people who carry your next level. A destiny helper must remember you to lift you. A divine connection must remember you to bless you. A system must remember you to promote you. But when evil altars erase your name, you remain in the right place but with the wrong outcome, because remembrance has been spiritually hijacked. This spirit also works through delays. It ensures that by the time people remember you, the window of opportunity has closed. A job is already taken, a relationship is already formed, a funding opportunity is already allocated. You were supposed to be chosen, but something happened and your name slipped away. This is why spiritual warfare is necessary. You must fight for your name to be restored in the realm of the spirit. One of the signs that this spirit is active is repeated patterns of being forgotten right at the edge of breakthrough. You experience almost promoted, almost blessed, almost selected, almost approved, almost recommended. These cycles reveal that your name reaches the right environment, but an evil hand wipes it away before it is spoken aloud. But there is good news. The God who remembered Hannah, the God who remembered Noah, the God who remembered Joseph, the God who remembers covenant, is the same God who will remember your name. When God restores your name in divine memory, no demon can erase it, no system can hide it, and no person can overlook it. Your season of remembrance begins the moment the light of God exposes the spirit of divine memory loss operating against you. There are battles that do not begin on earth. They begin in the unseen realm where destinies are shaped and decisions are made long before they manifest. In that realm, your name is not just a label. Your name is a spiritual identity, an address, a mark of recognition in the records of heaven. When the enemy wants to sabotage a destiny, he does not always attack your body first. He attacks your name. He erases it from the places where angels pick assignments. He hides it in the shadows where helpers cannot locate it. He buries it in dark altars where evil voices shout louder than your divine identity. This is why a person can be anointed, skilled, connected, and prepared, yet strangely forgotten. There is a difference between being ignored and being spiritually erased. A person who is ignored still has visibility. Their presence can still be noticed. But a person who is spiritually erased is completely unseen, even when they stand in the middle of the room. People will look at them without recognizing their value. Leaders will speak around them without remembering their name. Helpers will walk past them without sensing the divine assignment attached to them. It is as if a curtain has been drawn over your identity, concealing you from the people assigned to elevate you. This spiritual erasing is why some people remain stuck in the same spot for years. It is not that they lack effort, wisdom, or discipline. It is that their name has been spiritually silenced. Their voice is muted in the realm where destiny conversations happen. Their identity is not appearing in the rooms where their breakthrough decisions are made. And until that veil is lifted, they remain trapped in cycles of stagnation, while people with lesser capacity rise and advance ahead of them. This is the same mystery that happened to Mordecai. Though he had saved the king's life, though he deserved honor, though he had done what no other man could do, his name was buried in the realm of remembrance. He lived among the gatekeepers, but his name did not reach the throne room. His reward was hanging in the spirit, suspended above him, waiting for the day God would force the book of remembrance to open. When the spirit of erasing fights you, your achievements become invisible, your sacrifices become forgotten, and your honor becomes delayed. Spirit of erasing also manipulates timing. It ensures you are remembered when nothing can be done for you. It ensures your name comes up when the opportunity has expired. It ensures you are mentioned after decisions have been finalized. You hear statements like, "We wish we remembered you earlier," "We forgot you were qualified," or "We already gave the position to someone else." These are traces of a spiritual force that has gone ahead of you to hide your identity before favor arrives. Another strategy of this spirit is to scatter your identity. In the realm of the spirit, your name must be whole, consistent, visible, and stable. But when evil altars interfere, your name becomes fragmented. People remember the wrong version of you. They remember you with old mistakes. They remember you through past failures. They remember you with outdated judgments. They remember you with false labels the enemy planted years ago. This misrepresentation becomes a spiritual fog that distorts how people perceive your destiny. There are people who secretly carry the weight of being forgot by those they once helped. You lifted others, but they do not remember you. You stood with people during their storms, but when your season of need came, your name did not cross their minds. This is not emotional disappointment. This is spiritual interference. The spirit of erasing ensures that those who should return honor cannot recognize the seed you sowed into their lives. This spirit also rewrites stories. It manipulates conversations behind closed doors. When people discuss who to promote, your name is strangely missing. When people talk about who should lead, your name is not considered. When opportunities are shared, your name is not included. It is as if an unseen hand removes your identity from every decision that should bless you. This is why people under this attack often feel forgotten by life itself, because their spiritual identity has been tampered with. But there is a turning point that comes when God himself interrupts the silence. When heaven chooses to remember you, nothing can keep your name hidden. When God opens his own book of remembrance, every evil hand that covered your name is struck down. When God announces you, Even those who forgot you will remember suddenly. When God restores your name in the Spirit, divine alignment is activated, and your destiny begins to move again. Your name carries a divine assignment that no demon can permanently bury. Even if your name has been erased, hidden, silenced, or buried in the Spirit, God has the power to speak it again into the atmosphere of destiny. When God speaks your name, angels move, systems shift, people awaken, opportunities realign, and doors that once ignored you suddenly open with force. The same God who remembered Mordecai, the same God who remembered Joseph, the same God who remembered Hannah will remember you and restore your name where it was erased. There are opportunities that were designed with your name written on them in the realm of the Spirit long before you were born. Positions prepared, favors assigned, breakthroughs allocated, helpers chosen. But when silent spiritual forces interfere, those opportunities begin to misbehave. They bend away from you. They bypass you. They forget your identity. They arrive in your environment, but refuse to attach themselves to your destiny. This is how a person can stand next to their breakthrough and still miss it, because invisible hands push the opportunity away before it can settle on their life. These silent forces operate like unseen thieves, stealing recognition at the critical hour. They do not stop the opportunity from being created. They only stop the opportunity from remembering you. They work in the shadows, shifting attention away from your presence, redirecting favor to less qualified people, and scattering the thoughts of those who should recommend your name. Instead of your name rising like incense in the minds of those assigned to bless you, it remains buried under layers of spiritual manipulation. One of the main weapons of these silent forces is distraction. They distract your helpers so deeply that even when your name passes through their mind, it passes like a whisper they cannot interpret. They are overwhelmed with issues. They are consumed by chaos. They are dealing with crises. Your name appears at the edge of their thoughts, but evaporates before they can respond. This is not natural. This is engineered forgetfulness planted by dark forces determined to delay your rising. Another tactic these forces use is spiritual misalignment. They shift the timing of your life so that opportunities arrive when you are not present or prepared. Something small delays you. Something unexpected stops you. Something trivial comes between you and divine alignment. By the time you show up, the opportunity has expired. By the time you apply, the door has closed. By the time you respond, the decision is already made. These forces do not fight your ability, they fight your timing. Silent forces also manipulate people's perceptions. They filter your image through spiritual dust so that people see you inaccurately. Instead of seeing your potential, they see your past. Instead of seeing your strength, they see your weaknesses. Instead of seeing your anointing, they see rumors, lies, or misrepresentations planted by the enemy. This distorted perception is enough to disqualify you from opportunities that should have been yours effortlessly. Another deep mystery is that these forces sometimes divert opportunities to people connected to the same environment. Someone near you gets chosen. Someone close to you receives the blessing. Someone in your circle is remembered instead of you. You are happy for them, yet you feel the sting of being overlooked. This is not jealousy. This is the pain of spiritual misdirection. The blessing entered the right environment, but landed on the wrong name. These forces also specialize in sabotaging your visibility. They make sure the right people never see your work, your gifts, your excellence, or your progress. Emails that get lost. Messages do not deliver. Submissions disappear. Introductions fail. Recommendations are not given. This invisibility is not incompetence. It is warfare. The enemy wants your light covered so that divine connections cannot identify you. At times, these silent forces use the weapon of delay to weaken your hope. Every time you think the door is finally opening, something changes. Every time you feel a breakthrough approaching, it slips away. This pattern drains your confidence and kills your expectation, making you accept stagnation as normal. But spiritual delay is not denial. It is a sign that your destiny is under targeted attack from forces determined to keep you unseen. These forces also manipulate emotions. They make people who once admired your gift suddenly grow indifferent. They make individuals who once promised to support you lose interest. They make those who once celebrated you withdraw without explanation. This emotional withdrawal is not a coincidence. It is a spiritual shift designed to break the connection between you and your destiny helpers. But despite all these manipulations, the authority of God remains unmatched. No silent force can permanently bury a destiny that God has ordained. When God sends his light into the hidden corners of your life, every invisible hand manipulating your opportunities is broken. When God decides to highlight your identity, even those who ignored you will search for you. When God commands remembrance, your name becomes fire in the minds of those assigned to lift you. Every silent force loses its influence. There are moments when the people assigned to lift you suddenly change without any warning. Someone who once spoke passionately about helping you becomes quiet. Someone who promised to stand with you becomes unavailable. Someone who admired your gift no longer sees your value. This sudden shift is not emotional instability, it is spiritual interference. Destiny helpers forget you when an unseen force whispers a different narrative into their spirit, disconnecting them from the assignment God placed upon their lives. The enemy knows that no destiny rises without the hand of a helper. Even Jesus needed John the Baptist. David needed Jonathan. Joseph needed the cupbearer. Esther needed Mordecai. Each destiny requires a human vessel to unlock its next dimension. When the enemy wants to silence your rising, he does not always attack you directly. He attacks those meant to remember you. He blinds them. He distracts them. He blocks their spirit from sensing the urgency of your season. He makes them forget the promise they made with sincerity. This forgetting is not ordinary. It is engineered in the realm of the spirit. The enemy studies relationships and identifies the ones that carry weight for your future, the ones that matter, the ones that can shift your life. Then, he releases a spirit of memory loss that makes these individuals suddenly unmoved by your presence. They are not angry with you. They have no conflict with you. They simply don't remember. Their mind becomes foggy concerning you. Their heart becomes distant. Their spirit becomes disconnected. Some destiny helpers forget you because an evil voice speaks louder than the voice of God concerning your life. Spiritual manipulation can project lies, fears, doubts, and suspicions into their mind. Suddenly, someone who once trusted you begins to question you without evidence. Someone who once believed in you begins to hesitate. Someone who once celebrated you begins to withdraw. These are signs that your destiny helper is under spiritual attack, not that you have done anything wrong. There are also times when helpers forget, because the enemy covers your name with a spiritual veil. Your potential becomes invisible to them. Your relevance becomes hidden. They see you physically, but spiritually, they do not recognize the weight you carry. They remember your existence, but they forget your assignment in their life. They acknowledge your presence, but they forget your importance to their destiny. This is how helpers become passive even when your season of elevation has arrived. Sometimes helpers forget because altars of darkness exchange your name with another. Someone else becomes the recipient of favor meant for you. Someone else receives the position meant for you. Someone else gets the recommendation meant for you. These exchanges do not happen naturally, they happen spiritually, and then they manifest physically. That is why some people watch others step into blessings they were supposed to walk in effortlessly. Another deep mystery is that helpers can forget because they are spiritually weakened. The enemy overwhelms them with burdens, distractions, warfare, or personal storms until they no longer carry the strength to help you. They become drained, confused, or emotionally numb. Their forgetfulness is not intentional. It is a sign they are fighting unseen battles of their own. And when a helper is spiritually weak, their assignment becomes delayed. Sometimes the forgetting of helpers is simply a test of timing. God may allow a temporary silence so that no man will share his glory in your life. He may allow certain people to forget you so that when the blessing finally comes, you will know it was purely divine and not human manipulation. God sometimes hides you on purpose until he completes the inner preparation needed for your next level. But this divine hiding is different from demonic erasing. One preserves you, and the other delays you. Despite every interference, God has a way of refocusing the hearts of your helpers. One divine moment can restore every forgotten promise, every forgotten seed, every forgotten conversation. When God stirs their spirit, they remember you with urgency. They look for you. They mention your name. They open doors. They speak on your behalf. They feel compelled to complete the assignment they once abandoned. Their spirit becomes restless until they do what God commanded concerning your life. When God commands remembrance, no demon can silence your name. When God awakens a destiny helper, they move with speed. They make up for lost time. They repair what was delayed. They compensate for every season of forgetfulness. And once God reconnects them to your destiny, the assignment they carry for your life manifests powerfully and without hindrance. Your destiny helper will remember you again because heaven has spoken your name. In the realm of the Spirit, every destiny is attached to a book, a divine record that contains your assignments, your breakthroughs, your seasons, your rewards, and every act of obedience you have ever offered. But there are times when these spiritual books become closed, not because heaven has rejected you, but because an enemy has interfered with the manuscripts that testify on your behalf. These closed books create silence around your name. They mute your accomplishments. They hide your sacrifices. They make your years of labor appear irrelevant in the moments where honor should be released. There are people whose greatest battle is not poverty, sickness, or failure. Their greatest battle is that their spiritual record has been sealed. No matter how hard they work, nothing seems to speak for them. No matter how much they invest, no recognition comes. No matter how faithfully they serve, no reward arrives. It is not that the effort is missing. It is that the record of that effort is hidden in a closed spiritual book that nobody can access. Closed books produce closed doors. This mystery affected Mordecai. His book of remembrance existed. His good deeds were documented. His loyalty was recorded. Yet the book was closed for a season. And as long as it remained closed, honor could not locate him. He walked like a common man while royalty was written beside his name. He lived uncelebrated while a crown was waiting in the heavenly archives. This is the same thing that happens to many gifted, hard-working, anointed people. Their record is real, but their book is sealed. Closed books cause silent progress nobody sees. Progress nobody acknowledges. Progress nobody rewards. You advance in secret, but there is no public announcement of your growth. You succeed quietly, but there is no manifestation of the greatness within you. You are full of potential, yet heaven's documentation about your destiny is not yet activated. And without this activation, your name does not echo in the corridors of destiny. Silent records are another layer of this warfare. A silent record is not a lost record. It is a muted one. It exists, but it does not speak. It contains your good works, but it remains quiet in the moments when testimonies should rise. Silent records make it appear as if your contributions never mattered. They bury your support, your generosity, your loyalty, your integrity, making people overlook you with alarming ease. A silent record is one of the most painful weapons of the enemy because it convinces you that your labor has been in vain. There are people who have served faithfully in ministries, families, workplaces, and communities. They carried others through storms, yet when it was time for them to be elevated, nobody remembered. Their record was silent. Their sacrifices were buried. Their faithfulness was overlooked. This is not accidental. It is a spiritual manipulation, where an enemy covers your record so thoroughly that people cannot trace your impact. Closed books and silent records also affect generational blessing. Destiny flows through lineage, and what one person accomplishes can open the door for an entire family. But when dark forces close a family's book of remembrance, every generation begins from zero. Nobody inherits honor. Nobody inherits recognition. Nobody inherits legacy. Every new season forces a new struggle because the spiritual record meant to lift the family forward has been buried under layers of darkness. The enemy uses these silent records to delay divine timing. Many people are living below the level heaven wrote for them, simply because the record that should speak on their behalf has not been opened. They carry heavy potential, but live light in manifestation. They carry prophetic destiny, but live in quiet battles. They dream of greatness, but experience limited visibility. This gap between identity and manifestation often reveals that the book of their destiny has not yet been opened. But no matter how long a book has been closed, God has the authority to unseal it. One divine instruction can open what hell has locked. One heavenly command can activate what darkness muted. When God decides to expose your record, the silence breaks instantly. What was forgotten is remembered. What was ignored is celebrated. What was buried rises with power. God does not just open the book. He reveals your name in a way that no demon can silence again. When heaven opens your book of remembrance, everything shifts. People begin to recall your goodness without explanation. Doors begin to open without effort. Honor begins to locate you without struggle. Favor begins to follow you without delay. Your record begins to speak loudly in places where decisions are being made. Your name becomes a voice that moves through hearts, systems, and atmospheres. When God opens your book, destiny begins to accelerate with a force that cannot be stopped. There are seasons when everything you prayed for begins to move near your life. Favor comes into your environment. Opportunities appear around you. Doors open for others close to you. Breakthroughs manifest in your circle. You can feel the shift. You can sense the atmosphere changing. You can see the evidence that heaven is releasing blessings. Yet somehow, when it is time for names to be called, your name is not among them. The blessing arrives, but it does not attach itself to your destiny. This is one of the deepest spiritual battles, when good things come close, but your name is mysteriously absent. This experience leaves a person in silent agony. You see the harvest coming, but you are not permitted to touch it. You witness others enter seasons you prayed for, but your own door remains closed. You feel the wind of breakthrough blowing, yet it bypasses your life like you do not exist. This is not bad luck. It is not coincidence. It is not emotional exaggeration. It is a spiritual hijacking where your identity is detached from your season, making blessings circulate around you without resting upon you. This mysterious skipping is engineered by forces that manipulate spiritual identity. In the realm of the spirit, a blessing must recognize the name attached to it. It must land where heaven assigned it to land. But when dark forces erase, hide, or distort your name, your blessing arrives, but cannot identify you. It hovers around your environment, waiting for recognition. But because your spiritual visibility has been tampered with, the blessing lands on someone else. This is how destinies are delayed, while others accelerate. Sometimes these good things skip your name because your spiritual file has been pushed to the back. When angels come with blessings, they look for your record, but the enemy has hidden it in spiritual archives where it cannot be easily accessed. Your name is still in heaven, but it has been buried under layers of warfare. As long as your file remains hidden, your blessing will not be activated. Heaven responds to identity, and when identity is manipulated, manifestation is delayed. There are also moments when your blessing arrives, but the system meant to announce it refuses to call your name. A committee meets, but your name is not mentioned. A decision is made, but your identity is not considered. A position opens, but your application is overlooked. These systems are not just physical. They are spiritual gates controlled by unseen forces. If the enemy sits at a gate, he can silence your name, even when your qualifications are unquestionable. Another mystery behind blessings skipping your name is the spirit of divine misdirection. This spirit ensures that the blessing meant for you is assigned to someone with a weaker claim. You see people receiving things they neither worked for nor prayed for, while you, the one who sowed seeds, fasted and waited, remain in a dry season. The enemy wants you discouraged. He wants you broken. He wants you to feel forgotten by heaven, so you will stop pushing in the spirit. In many cases, the skipping of your name is a result of spiritual covering, not the covering of God, but the covering of darkness. You are covered by a cloud that hides your identity from the atmosphere of favor. Even when good things come near you, they cannot see you. You are present, but not recognized. You are available, but not selected. You are qualified, but not acknowledged. This is how the enemy hides destiny without touching their physical life. Sometimes blessings skip your name because of generational patterns written into your bloodline. Families that never rise, names that never appeared in high places, histories of being overlooked, ignored, and forgotten. These patterns create spiritual ceilings that limit how far your name can ascend. Many people are not fighting personal battles. They are fighting inherited battles where their family identity has been spiritually marked for silence. But the most painful part is when you meet the blessing face to face, yet it does not respond to you. You attend the interview. You submit the proposal. You show up for the meeting. You present your gift. You speak the right words. You do everything correctly. But the opportunity still slips away. This reveals that the attack is not on your capability, but on your spiritual identity. The blessing was programmed to remember you, but the enemy reprogrammed its assignment. Yet, even in this painful warfare, God remains sovereign. When the appointed time arrives, God restores your name in such a way that no blessing can overlook you again. When God decides that your season has come, even blessings that skipped you before will return. Even opportunities that bypassed you will come back in multiplied form. Even doors that once ignored you will swing open with force. Once God reestablishes your identity, nothing can skip your name again. The same God who reinstated Joseph's name before Pharaoh. The same God who brought Mordecai's honor back from years of silence. The same God who remembered Hannah and opened her womb, that same God will cause every good thing meant for you to locate you with accuracy. Your name will no longer be skipped. Your identity will no longer be hidden. Your blessing will no longer pass you by. Heaven will synchronize your identity with your season, and what belongs to you will find you without delay. There are battles where the enemy does not attack your health, your finances, or your peace directly instead. He attacks the memory of those assigned to lift you. He plants selective forgetfulness in the minds of people who owe you honor, people who promised you help, people who carry your next level, and people who hold the keys to rooms you are meant to enter. This is a strategic operation. The blessing remains available, but the individual responsible for announcing you loses the ability to remember your name at the right moment. This selective forgetfulness delays destinies more than outright opposition. Selective forgetfulness is not random. It is targeted. It is the kind of forgetting that happens only in the moments that matter most. Someone remembers you until it is time to recommend you. Then they forget. People remember your talent until it is time to choose you. Then they forget. They remember your sacrifice until it is time for reward. Then they forget. This reveals that a spiritual hand is manipulating the timing of remembrance so that your breakthrough remains suspended, hanging but never landing. The enemy knows that destiny often hinges on one moment of remembrance, one conversation, one mention of your name, one voice speaking on your behalf, one decision made in your absence. That is all it takes for your life to shift. And because the enemy understands the weight of remembrance, he targets the memory of the very people whose voices matter for your elevation. He dulls their thoughts, fogs their minds, and silences the spiritual prompting that once reminded them of their assignment toward you. This manipulation often hides behind normal excuses. I forgot. It slipped my mind. I was overwhelmed. I meant to call you, or I will get back to you. But behind these words lies a spiritual interference that blocks their remembrance at the precise moment your name should arise. People are not wicked. They are spiritually intercepted. Their memory is under attack, and until the yoke is broken, their forgetfulness will continue to sabotage your rising. Selective forgetfulness is one of the enemy's favorite tools because it is subtle yet powerful. It creates delay without suspicion. It causes stagnation without confrontation. It makes you invisible without explanation. You begin to wonder why people change, why promises remain unfulfilled, why support disappears, why conversations never include your name. You question yourself, your gift, and your worth, unaware that the battle is not internal, but spiritual. This kind of forgetfulness also uses emotional manipulation. People start feeling disconnected from you for no reason. Helpers who once felt drawn to your destiny suddenly feel nothing. Their compassion dries up. Their interest fades. Their excitement disappears. These emotional shifts are not natural. They are attacks on the spiritual cord that connects destiny helpers to their assignments. The enemy wants to break the bond so that you remain unsupported even in seasons of divine opportunity. Sometimes Selective forgetfulness is reinforced by evil whispers. Spiritual voices speak lies into the minds of your helpers. They are not ready. They don't deserve it. Choose someone else. Wait for another time. These whispered lies override the genuine prompting of the Holy Spirit and redirect favor away from your life. Your helpers do not even realize they are being influenced. Their discernment is clouded by invisible manipulation. There are also times when selective forgetfulness affects institutions, systems, and organizations. Files go missing. Applications get misplaced. Emails never arrive. Records become corrupted. Your details are accidentally removed from lists. People claim they never received your message. These are not mere accidents. They are manifestations of a spiritual force rearranging natural processes to erase your presence from places where your breakthrough should be processed. But no matter how strategic this manipulation is, it can be reversed by divine intervention. When God restores remembrance, He does not just trigger a memory, He releases conviction. The helper who forgot you becomes restless until they honor their assignment. The leader who overlooked you becomes compelled to mention your name. The person who ignored you begins to seek you. This is not normal remembrance. It is supernatural recollection birthed by God. When the divine wind of remembrance blows, your name becomes a fire in the mind of your helper. They cannot forget you. They cannot ignore you. They cannot avoid their responsibility toward you. God rewires their thoughts, awakens their spirit, and restores the divine connection. What they forgot for years suddenly becomes urgent. What they neglected suddenly becomes important. This is how God reverses selective forgetfulness. He forces your name back into the center of destiny. And when God does it, the restoration is complete. Every forgotten promise is revived. Every delayed blessing is released. Every withheld opportunity is reactivated. Every silent helper becomes vocal. Every system that overlooked you begins to respond. The manipulation over their memory breaks, and your destiny begins to move with speed. What was blocked becomes open. What was delayed accelerates. What was forgotten becomes honored. Because when God restores remembrance, no demon in hell can silence your name again. There are moments when heaven opens its ancient books, and the names of men and women rise like incense before the throne of God. These are not merely physical names. They are spiritual identities tied to destinies, promises, and covenants. But when the enemy has tampered with your name, erased it, buried it, silenced it, your destiny becomes trapped in delay. Restoring your name in the books of divine remembrance is not just about being remembered. It is about reactivating every blessing, every promise, and every breakthrough attached to your identity. In the spirit realm, your name holds authority. Your name is the key heaven uses to release assignments and blessings. When your name is spoken in the courts of heaven, angels move, doors open, and breakthroughs are issued. But when your name is hidden under layers of warfare, the flow of divine intervention slows. It is not that God has forgotten you. He cannot forget His creation. But the spiritual record connected to your destiny has been tampered with. And until it is restored, your manifestation remains suspended. There are seasons when God decides to intervene personally by opening the book of remembrance. This is what happened to Noah in the ark after months of waiting. Scripture says, "And God remembered Noah." That remembrance was not God suddenly recalling him. It was God executing the next prophetic phase of Noah's destiny. In the same way, when God remembers you, it is not recollection, it is activation. Your name begins to move again in the realm of the Spirit. Restoration begins when God breathes life into your identity. He releases light that exposes every dark force hiding your name. He sends angels to recover your spiritual record from the places where it was buried. He commands your destiny file to be reopened. This is not a gentle process. Heaven violently retrieves what darkness tried to bury. Every evil altar that tampered with your identity begins to crumble. Every satanic covering placed over your name begins to burn. Heaven's fire restores what the enemy tried to erase. There are people who spent years faithful, consistent, and obedient, yet their lives did not show the reflection of their sacrifices. Not because God ignored them, but because their book of remembrance had not yet spoken. Divine remembrance is not about your past. It is about your future finally catching up to the seeds you have sown. When God restores your record, Years of hidden labor explode into visible honor. What was once ignored becomes impossible to overlook. Some destinies remain silent because their names were never pronounced in the right places. Decisions were made without spiritual alignment. Committees gathered, but your identity was missing. Conversations that should have changed your life took place without your name being mentioned. These gaps in your journey are signs that your book of remembrance was not yet active. A restored book means those gaps close. The season of silence ends. Your name begins to echo where it matters most. Restoring your name also means restoring your spiritual relevance. When your name is restored, your value becomes visible again. People begin to see what they could not see before. Helpers recognize your importance. Leaders begin to sense your potential. Systems start responding to your identity. What seemed like coincidence is actually the ripple effect of a restored spiritual record. The atmosphere itself begins to acknowledge your presence. There is also a prophetic dimension to divine remembrance when God remembers you. He restores everything connected to your identity. Lost opportunities return. Delayed blessings manifest. Forgotten promises resurface. Helpers who drifted away reconnect. Doors that were once locked open with ease. Favor that bypassed you returns with force. This is not random. It is the unfolding of a spiritual law. When the book speaks, manifestation follows. When God restores your name, He also restores your divine timing. The delays end. The stagnation breaks. The warfare loses power. Your destiny begins to synchronize with heaven's calendar. Suddenly, what was painful becomes purposeful. What was long becomes worthwhile. What was silent begins to shout. Heaven aligns your environment so that everything meant for you begins to move toward you with precision. And when your name is restored in the book of remembrance, no demon can silence it again. Your identity becomes sealed under the authority of heaven. Every evil force that once hid your name becomes powerless. Every altar that once manipulated your identity becomes irrelevant. Your destiny becomes unshakable because your spiritual record is now anchored in the courts of God. What heaven restores cannot be stolen again. There are spiritual forces whose entire assignment is to hide you. They do not attack your body or finances directly. They attack your visibility. They operate like a dark veil placed over your face, making people unable to perceive your value, your anointing, your potential, or your destiny. These forces do not remove you from the environment. They simply make you unrecognizable within it. You become present but unseen, available but overlooked, gifted but ignored. This is not natural. It is a strategic concealment engineered in the spirit. When the enemy wants to cripple a destiny, he does not always destroy the person. He hides them. He hides their voice, hides their talent, hides their influence, hides their relevance. He covers their identity under layers of spiritual fog, so that the people assigned to bless them cannot discern who they truly are. This is why some people work harder than everyone around them, yet remain unnoticed. Their destiny visibility has been spiritually switched off. One of the most dangerous forms of spiritual attack is the unseen covering, the kind that makes people around you treat you as ordinary, even when you carry greatness. You speak wisdom, but nobody listens. You offer solutions, but nobody considers them. You produce excellence, but nobody acknowledges it. This is not incompetence, it is concealment. A destiny hidden is a destiny delayed, because recognition is the gateway to elevation. Sometimes this concealment shows up as misidentification. People see you, but they see you incorrectly. They attach the wrong labels to your life. They interpret your strength as arrogance, your confidence as pride, your silence as weakness, your kindness as foolishness, your humility as insignificance. These wrong labels do not come from their understanding. They come from spiritual interference that distorts how people perceive your identity. There are also times when those assigned to help you simply cannot see you spiritually. They pass by you every day. They speak to you without sensing anything unusual. They interact with you without recognizing the destiny connection between you. Their spiritual eyes are blocked. Their discernment is muted. Their spirit is disconnected from yours. This blindness is not a human flaw. It is a spiritual curtain the enemy placed between you and them. Some people experience this warfare in environments where they should thrive. They join a workplace where their excellence should shine, but instead they become invisible. They enter relationships where their value should be appreciated, but instead they are misunderstood. They serve in places where their gift should speak loudly, but instead their impact remains silent. These are signs that a spiritual power is hiding your identity from those who are meant to open doors for you. This hiding also works through atmospheres. When you walk into certain places, the atmosphere itself rejects your presence. Opportunities close. People become cold. Conversations shift. Honor disappears. It feels as though something in the environment pushes you aside. This is because territorial spirits recognize destinies, and when they sense a rising star, they attempt to hide that identity so it cannot influence the territory. But the most painful aspect of this attack is when you feel the greatness inside you but cannot express it outwardly. You know you carry something powerful. You know you are chosen for something bigger. You know God placed a mantle on your life. Yet everything around you contradicts what you feel internally. This internal-external conflict reveals that your identity has been spiritually covered, preventing the world from seeing who you truly are. But when God steps in to expose every force hiding your identity, the concealment breaks instantly. Divine exposure does not simply reveal you, it reveals the true weight of who you are. God tears the veil. He burns the covering. He destroys the shield of darkness. He forces every eye assigned to see you to finally perceive your presence. He compels helpers to recognize you. He awakens leaders to acknowledge you. He commands systems to respond to you. When God exposes your identity, every lie spoken about you collapses. Every false label is removed. Every misinterpretation fades. Every distorted perception clears. People begin to see you accurately. Your gift becomes undeniable. Your presence becomes impactful. Your destiny becomes visible. The same people who overlooked you begin to honor you. The same systems that ignored you begin to favor you. The same atmosphere that rejected you begins to embrace you. Divine exposure also brings supernatural attraction. People begin to seek you for reasons they cannot explain. Leaders mention your name without knowing why. Helpers feel drawn to your spirit. Opportunities find their way to your doorstep. Doors open in your absence. Recommendations rise behind your back. When God exposes you, you cannot be hidden again, because the exposure becomes a spiritual announcement that heaven has released your identity. And once heaven exposes you, no power can hide you again. The identity the enemy tried to bury begins to shine with unstoppable brilliance. Your spiritual visibility increases. Your influence expands. Your name carries weight. Every power that hid you becomes powerless, because when God reveals a destiny, the revelation cannot be reversed. You become a city set on a hill, visible, undeniable, and unignorable. There comes a moment in every destiny where heaven rises, breaks the silence, overturns the delay, and commands a fresh wind of remembrance to blow upon your name. This is the moment where everything that once forgot you begins to remember you with clarity. Every blessing that bypassed you begins to return. Every helper that overlooked you begins to search for you. Every opportunity that skipped your identity begins to realign itself with accuracy. This is not coincidence. This is divine restoration. God himself steps into the story of your life and declares, "Your name shall be remembered again." This prophetic restoration is not gentle. It is forceful. Heaven does not politely ask darkness to release your identity. It issues a decree. Every evil covering over your name is burned. Every satanic fog clouding your visibility is scattered. Every spiritual padlock sealing your destiny files is shattered. God does not negotiate with forces that hid your name. He overthrows them. And when he restores your visibility, he restores it in such a way that no demon can reverse it. In this season of restoration, your name begins to rise in places you have never stepped into. People who have never met you begin to hear about you. Individuals from far territories suddenly become aware of your existence. Systems that once rejected you begin to request for you. Doors that remained shut for years begin to open without resistance. When God restores a name, he sends it ahead of you to places your feet have not yet reached. Prophetic restoration also heals your timeline. All the years of delay begin to collapse into sudden acceleration. Blessings that should have manifested gradually begin to arrive rapidly. Things that took others decades happen for you in months. Things that seemed impossible become effortless. This is because restoration does not return you to where you should have been. It pushes you forward into where you would have been if the enemy never interfered. God redeems lost time by multiplying restored opportunities. There is also a supernatural dimension where God compels those who forgot you to remember you with urgency. People who once said, "I will get back to you," begin to call you with determination. Leaders who once ignored your presence begin to request your contribution. Individuals who once dismissed your potential begin to acknowledge your value. This sudden shift is not emotional, it is spiritual. Their spirit has been awakened by the voice of God, and now they cannot rest until they honor the assignment they once neglected. A restored name carries fragrance. It becomes like incense released into the atmosphere. Wherever your name is mentioned, favor rises with it. Wherever your identity appears, honor accompanies it. Wherever your presence goes, acceptance follows. This fragrance is spiritual, the scent of divine remembrance that makes people respond to you positively without knowing why. You no longer struggle for attention. Heaven commands it for you. Restoration also breaks cycles of rejection. Where doors once closed, they now open. Where you were once unseen, you now stand out. Where you once felt forgotten, you now become the first to be considered. This is because God not only restores your name, He restores the spiritual memory associated with your destiny. Every altar that once silenced you becomes powerless. Every force that once erased you becomes irrelevant. Your name becomes shielded by the presence of God. In this prophetic season, old opportunities reappear with new strength. People who once passed you by return with fresh intention. Past seasons that felt wasted are resurrected with purpose. The blessings that once escaped your reach come back with multiplied increase. God does not restore halfway. He restores completely. He does not return fragments. He returns fullness. He does not give pieces. He gives abundance. When God restores your name, He restores your honor. You begin to walk in rooms you once only dreamed of. You sit at tables where decisions are made. You enter relationships that uplift your spirit. You gain access to platforms that amplify your destiny. People treat you with the respect heaven has placed upon you. Your name becomes synonymous with excellence, influence, and authority because God has stamped His seal upon it. And finally, prophetic restoration makes your name unforgettable. Not only remembered, unforgettable. Not only mentioned, established. Not only recognized, sealed. Heaven plants your identity in the hearts of those assigned to your life. Your name becomes a spiritual echo that cannot be silenced. God Himself becomes the guardian of your visibility. And once God decides that your name must shine, no force in the physical or spiritual realm can hide you again. There comes a moment when the warfare against your name breaks and the atmosphere around your destiny shifts permanently. The season where you lived unseen, unrecognized, and overlooked comes to an end, and a new chapter begins. This is that moment. You are stepping out of hidden battles and into divine remembrance. You are stepping out of delay and into divine timing. You are stepping out of silence and into supernatural announcement. The forces that erased your name have lost their power. The altars that buried your identity have collapsed. Heaven has reopened your book, and your name is rising again with authority. Everything that once forgot you will begin to remember you. People who ignored you will begin to seek you. Opportunities that bypassed you will return with precision. Doors that closed will open with force. Systems that rejected you will shift in your favor. God has spoken your name into the atmosphere, and now nothing can silence it again. You are no longer invisible. You are no longer muted. You are no longer hidden. You are restored, recognized, remembered, and divinely marked for elevation. Every delay you endured will be redeemed. Every silent season you suffered will produce multiplied honor. Every forgotten seed you sowed will return as a harvest of favor. The years where people overlooked you will become the years where people celebrate you. The places that once rejected you will become the platforms God uses to announce you. The helpers who once forgot you will return, carrying blessings they should have delivered long ago. Nothing you lost will remain lost. God is restoring everything with increase. From this moment, walk boldly. Walk with the assurance that heaven has spoken on your behalf. Walk with the confidence of a destiny that cannot be erased. Walk with the authority of someone whose name is known in the Spirit. You are stepping into rooms where your presence will matter. You are entering seasons where your name will open doors. You are rising into realms where your identity carries weight. God has remembered you, and the earth will respond. This is your time. This is your turning point. This is your lifting. Your name is sealed under the power of divine remembrance. No witchcraft can hide it. No darkness can erase it. No delay can silence it. You are rising by fire and by the hand of God. Your destiny has been unlocked. Your visibility has been restored. Your season has come. And from this day forward, your name will never be forgotten again. Stay protected. Stay victorious. This is your everlasting solution.